John Orlando, and I'm going to show you how a teacher can use Padlet in their instruction. Now, Padlet's essentially a website, but it's built for collaboration. People collaborate by posting notes on the page, and it ends up looking a lot like a post-it board, like a cork board where people are tacking things up. And I'd like to show you an example of how that can be done. Let's go to Make a Padlet. And you're going to see that starting with a blank Padlet, I first come up with a design. This wall design means that each person's entry will simply come up as a kind of brick in a wall. The canvas design means that people can put them anywhere they want, the new posts. The stream design means that each post will come into a central column at the bottom, a bit like a blog. A grid is very similar to a wall. The only thing is that the rows line up, whereas a wall, the rows do not line up, only the columns do. And finally, shelf, which I think might be the most helpful for most purposes. This allows a teacher to define a certain number of columns and have students post a certain type of content into each column. You can start with a template, which gives you basically a starting point for your work. Let's go into some examples. For instance, Q&A. This is a template that's already been built. You can see that it has postings at the top with comments underneath it. And if you like it, all you have to do is say you want to use it. I simply come down to Select under Q&A, and I can start modifying it. And I'll show you later how you would modify a template. But as you can see, you start with someone else's design and you can change things. You can make bricks in the background, camo, or something else you'd like. Maybe pencils would be appropriate for teachers. I'm going to close out of this and go back. So let's start with the shelf. We're going to start from scratch. Now, as soon as it opens it opens on the right hand side a kind of navigation bar, and it kind of walks you through the process of adding different content. So it gives you a title to begin with, which you're probably not going to use. I'm going to imagine I am a European art teacher and I want my students to post images of different types of European art. So I'm going to first title this particular Padlet European Art. I'm then going to give it a description. I'm going to say provide an example of each type of art and describe why it fits that genre. Next, I can provide a background. Again, I can go to More, and from here I can pick backgrounds. We have this kind of giraffe look, we have stones. Now I may decide that none of the preset backgrounds really work with what I want to do. And that's fine. I can just put my own image in. So I'm going to go to the top and I'll click Add Your Own. And I'm going to choose an image from my computer. Note, I can also paste a link of an image that I find on the internet and it will automatically draw that in. So I'll go choose an image. You get preview of it on the right and I'll click OK. Looks good. So this seems more appropriate for European art. Having done that, we'll go back again to our next step. Note, by the way, like everything, this has a freemium model. You can do it for free, and you can do quite a bit for free, or you can get a premium plan that gives you more templates and more functions. Now we'll go down and pick an icon. Icon is just the thing that's going to show up on the main home page that kind of symbolizes that particular Padlet, almost like the profile photo on Facebook. It's probably a good idea to put something in there. Now, like everything, you can choose from one of their pre-stocked items. But again, I think I might add my own. And here, I'll just add the exact same photo as the background. I click Yes, and on the top left now, you can see that the icon's been added. I'll go back. Now we have a few settings that you can use. One is Attribution. And this means that the author's name will display above each post. Now, if you're using this for collaboration in class, most of the authors are students, and I would think you'd probably want to show it. New post position, this is where posts show up in what's going to be columns, either at the top or at the bottom when a student adds a new post. I'll just say last. Commenting, which is really nice. When you put up a post, you can have others comment on it. So I'm going to say yes, we'll allow commenting. Reactions is kind of nice too. That means that students can actually vote or give reactions to different posts. Now click that and you have different options like, just like Facebook, vote, up or down, stars. You can even grade. I'll just leave it on like. There are also tags. This just makes it easier to search for the Padlet later on. May not use tags. I guess if you have quite a few Padlets, maybe you'd want tags to make them easier to find. And finally, this you're probably going to want to do. It allows you to set your own URL. Now it gives you a default URL, but notice it's an effectively random string of characters. And nobody's going to remember that. Everyone's going to have to look it up again, and they're probably going to copy it wrong if you put it on the board or something. So it's probably a good idea just to give it a title that represents what you're doing. So I'm going to just call it European Art. Looks good. We'll scroll to the top. We'll go next. And now we have privacy settings. We can make the Padlet public so anyone can get in and post. We can make it secret, which means that anyone can get in if they know the URL. You can also make it password protected or make it private, meaning only people you invite can get in. It's up to you. My personal opinion is that secret is fine for most purposes. If you want stronger protection, you can use password protection, but again, it's entirely up to you. Now those with access can do what? They can read it, they can write, they can moderate or administer. We'll just leave it can write. That means they can add posts, view and add posts. That's probably what you want your students to be able to do because you want them to be able to add content. Then at the bottom, advanced remake means it allows anyone to use a copy of the Padlet for their own work, essentially add to that template gallery. If you are concerned a little bit with privacy there, then you can say no. And moderation requires the administrator to moderate a post before it's published. I never worry about that, so I'll go next. And now we can start posting. Now what I'm going to do is define each column in terms of a European art genre. So the first one is going to be Renaissance. Save. We'll add another column. That will be Baroque. Add another column we're going to call Classical. I'm going to add a column for Cubism. And finally something for good old Impressionism. Now you see these pluses underneath each column, and that's where students can post. So for instance, this assignment would be that a student would have to go out and find an example of each type of art, post it, say what the art piece is, and say why it constitutes an example of that particular style. So let's go Renaissance, and here what I'm going to do is post a photo. So I'll click the little camera. Notice that you can post sound, video, document, but we're going to go with a camera. So I'll give it a title, School of Athens. Maybe I'll say by Raphael. Then under writing something, I would probably write something like this demonstrates the Renaissance art because it demonstrates reason, knowledge, structure, and obviously I won't go through the whole thing. And it's posted. Notice because I've defined it as something where people can like it, someone can heart it, I guess I can heart my own stuff, and someone can add their own comment to it. Then as an assignment, I'd require a student to post to each one of those, and of course maybe I could require that they comment on another student's post or something like that. So it's as simple as that. Give it a try. Thanks.